Again, welcome all of you, and thank you for joining us today on our session today on how community blends give back. And I'm going to pass it on over to our in-house team, Jonathan and Kelly, to introduce everyone and take it away.
Awesome. Well, hello again. I forgot Nicole was going to give us some intros. So thank you, Nicole, for getting us out here. I'm really excited to have you guys joining us today for the community blends and how they give back. A little webinar. We have some really great guests today that I'm excited to have along with us. My name is Kelly Lormeyer. I am the RSM for Southern California. I've been with the company for about 5 years. I'll tell you a little bit more about myself when we get into our presentation, but I'm going to introduce you to my coworker, Jonathan, and he'll take it away.
Yeah, hey everybody. I'm Jonathan Sykes. I'm the sales manager for the Southeast for Yakima Chief Hops. And I'm also kind of the sales and brewery liaison, working with the veteran breweries and selecting a charity and creating the Veterans Blend each year. So very happy to be here. I've got two guests with us today that can join us. Bobby George, he's the director of outreach for the Gary Sinise Foundation. They're our partner, they're our charity partner this year for the Veterans Blend. And I also have Kevin Ryan, CEO and president, and you've got a few other titles there too, right, Kevin, for Service Brewing. He's been of the blend since we started, so very happy to have those fellas on with us. I guess I'll kick things off and we'll get into the Veterans Blend portion of the presentation. I saw on the Whova app, someone had already put a question out there, and it kind of just said, what is a community blend? And really these blends came about as sort of a direct correlation to our vision to be a responsible neighbor and asset to our communities. But if you're a brewer, if you've been in the brewing industry for the last decade or so, you'll know that the hop blends came about as sort of a direct correlation to actually they came out about to fill a need for varieties that were in short supply. I think Centennial was one of the first ones. And then Simcoe, there were some crop problems. You know, we had the industry really just kind of blew up out of nowhere and took the supply chain by surprise. So it was necessary to really kind of blend other hops to kind of hit a profile that could kind of be worked in as a substitution for these hops that weren't available. So really hit a niche there, and so this kind of has really just expanded from that. They've now become a neat way to showcase customized flavors and aromas in a fun way to support great causes like this. So the Veterans Blend, next slide please, Ms. Nicole. Maybe one more. So the Veterans Blend is a nonprofit veteran support organizations are nominated, vetted, and voted on each year by participating veteran brewers from across the United States. So I have like a list of veteran brewers, and it's ever expanding and ever growing. And a lot of times these folks will kind of nominate or submit really good charitable organizations to us. And sometimes YCH folks do as well. So we'll kind of vet those organizations, use CharityWatch.org, that type of thing, to make sure they're a good group to work with. We kind of whittle that down, let the actual veterans vote on the organization each year. So the top vote getter becomes our charitable partner if it's a good fit. So that's kind of how that comes apart. This is our third year doing it. And we've had three unique, distinct organizations really supporting really great causes. So once we get that done, we invite the veteran brewers to come and select at a Craft Brewers Conference each year. They actually create the blend. Obviously this year with COVID and the pandemic year, we had to do everything virtually through Zoom, but it worked out. It turned out to be a really good deal. But basically we'll get them in there. We'll evaluate hop varieties for sensory characteristics. We'll choose the top varieties. We bring like 10 to 15 different hop varieties in and let them kind of rub and choose the ones they like. And they really kind of create their dream blend. And usually we'll have a few different variations, but we kind of look for trends. And we have Chad Roberts, who's kind of our master blender. He kind of goes through that, and we kind of get everything narrowed down to kind of the top 2 blends or the top 2 trending varieties or top 2 blends with those varieties in there. And so we narrow it down to 2, and then we bring everybody back in, and then they vote on the blend for that year. So that's kind of how you select that. It's really cool. It's really neat. You can kind of see up there on the right, kind of the aggregate and kind of how we come to the conclusion for which blend to use for the year. Next slide. So like I said, we've been doing this 3 years. This will be the 3rd year. The first year we supported Semper Fi Fund. Last year was Wounded Warriors Family Support, not Wounded Warrior Project. This is a different organization. And really proud to work with Gary Sinise Foundation this year. First 2 years, around 25 grand. We'll see what happens this year. We were a little concerned with it being a COVID year. You know, a lot of folks are concerned with getting revenue in the door. May not have room to support charities this year, but I'll tell you what, we're already on track to kind of blow the numbers out from last year already, which is really cool, you know, considering everything that's going on. And one thing about this blend, when you buy the blend, you know, the money going towards the blend is already, you know, peeled off and going to the charity. So if breweries are kind of cash strapped and need to get some revenue in, they can sell the finished product for a profit. You know, most of the time breweries will do an additional donation or support a different cause, you know, with the finished product, but it's not mandatory. So that may be something this year that's a little more helpful in these times of woe and want here. Right, next. So this year's Veterans Blend, really excited about it. It's got 2 experimental varieties, or actually one of them was experimental, and just until a couple of weeks ago, it just got named. So Talus, which was HBC 692. HBC, for those of you who don't know, that's Hop Breeding Company. That's our partnership with John I. Haas with a breeding company. It's come out with some varieties such as Citra, Mosaic, Sabra, you know, some of the really heavy hitters you've seen kind of in the market in the last 10 years. So this year's blend is Idaho 7 dominant, I would say. I think it's like 35% Idaho 7. It's got some Mosaic in there. It's got a good bit of Talus 692, which I mentioned earlier. This is going to be a great hop. It's very pink grapefruity. It's got a little bit of that Neo-Mexicanus flavor like Sabro, but not as overwhelming. It's going to hit that kind of juicy profile with that pink grapefruit characteristic. A little bit of Sabro and a little bit of HBC 630, which is kind of the next on the horizon with experimentals. It's got a lot of like cherry candy flavor to it. A little bit of that in there. So this is going to be really, you know, really great for the juicy IPAs everyone's drinking right now. Really excited about it. So yes, we mailed 20 selection kits to veteran breweries. We had 20 participants this year for the kind of that final blend. We collected the sensory data and concluded with a final Zoom call in May. And we didn't know it at the time, but actually we're having to do all of our harvest selections via Zoom and virtually this year because of COVID. We can't have everybody come out to Yakima to our offices and select like we usually do. And, you know, we miss seeing everybody. We wish we could, but due to COVID, we're not able to. But like I say, we didn't know it, but at the time, this was kind of like a guinea pig selection, and it went really well. So this is kind of how we're doing all of the selections now this year. And this is just kind of a look at some of the breweries that came. Actually, this is, I think, all of the breweries. Nice little smattering of veteran breweries, veteran brewers, veteran-owned breweries from around the country. Yeah, and we're getting more participation each year. Everybody's really excited about jumping on board, helping out select the charity and helping out kind of create the blend. Next. And like I said, this year, Gary Sinise Foundation will be our partner. Read their mission over here, get out of the way. So we'll be making a charitable donation to the Gary Sinise Foundation, whose mission is to serve our nation by honoring our defenders, veterans, first responders, their families, and those in need. The foundation's programs designed to entertain, educate, inspire, strengthen, and build communities, serve America's heroes and their loved ones 365 days a year. So there's the link if anyone's interested. I'm going to have much more on that here in just a second. Next slide. And this is just some other programs that we did in the past year. So with the Veterans Blend. We actually had a booth at GABF last year with the Veterans Beer Alliance. Those guys are doing some great things. They're kind of a new organization, but they're going to continue to kind of grow and find their way. Kevin hosted a kind of a collabo brew with the Sergeant Major of the Army there. He came down to Savannah, and he's a big home brewer. I don't know if he's with SMA. I think he was getting ready to retire. But yeah, that was really neat to go to. We've done a couple of collabo brews around the country. You can see some of the beers that a few breweries put out. We did a First Responders Brew Day in Yakima up there, and also at Bellbreaker. So a lot of fun stuff going on over the last 12 months or so with the blend. And without further ado, I would like to introduce Bobby George, the Director of Outreach, to speak about the Gary Sinise Foundation. Take it away, Gary.
Right on. Thank you for the intro, Jonathan. Like you said, I'm a Director of Outreach for Veterans and First Responders at the Gary Sinise Foundation. Just want to start off by thanking Yakima Chief Hops and the 2020 Veterans Blend for making us a beneficiary of this event. We feel honored to be selected. So now I'm just going to give a quick brief overall overview of our programs and what exactly we do to support our nation's defenders. Jonathan said earlier, our mission statement is to serve our nation by honoring our defenders, veterans, first responders, their families, and those in needs. We want to serve those who serve us in our country. We've done this through a variety of different programs and initiatives, all created by Gary Sinise, Mr. Lieutenant Dan himself. Going to start off with a little bit of information on our RISE program. That's restoring independence and supporting empowerment. Through that program, we build specially adapted smart homes for severely wounded veterans. We also offer home modifications, special adapted vehicles, and mobility devices for our ill and aging veterans. Then for our second programmatic pillar, we have a relief and resiliency. The whole point of this is to provide a helping hand up. Through this program, we do everything from serve our Gold Star and families of the fallen with trips to Disney World, to Gary's got a band, the Lieutenant Dan Band, and they play military troop support concerts at military bases all throughout the country. We also have our Hope Initiative, Heal, Overcome, Persevere, and Excel. Through this, we provide a one-time hand-up financial assistance for veterans that have hit a rough patch in life, whether that's medical bills, utilities, funerals, and whatnot. And then we also have, through our R&R program, our Mental Health Initiative, where we support a lot of great organizations that specialize in different types of mental health treatment. Then we have our third programmatic pillar, our community and education. The whole point of this program is to bridge the gap between the civilian community and our nation's defenders, those that are serving our country. We kind of want to open our civilians and community's eyes as to the service and sacrifices that those defending our nation endure. In this program, we do everything from taking World War II veterans and pairing them up with high school students and taking them to the World War II in New Orleans, to monthly meals at military bases throughout the country through our Serving Heroes Initiative, and an arts and entertainment initiative where we sponsor a veterans night where they can go to their local theater and watch a play for free. We have an ambassador council speaking to high school students about the importance of service, not just to your country, but to your community. And then our fourth but not last programmatic pillar is our first responder outreach. Through this, we provide equipment and training to departments in need. And so as you see, we got a very broad mission. We've been able to do this for Gary, all the great support that he's gotten from great organizations such as Yakima Chief Hops and the 2020 Veterans Blend. So we just want to thank you. Next slide, we have a short video showing some of the impact.
Service, commitment, integrity. These are the traits embodied by our nation's defenders, veterans, and first responders. And they are also the core values upon which the Gary Sinise Foundation is built. Our programs honor our heroes, both past and present, while inspiring the next generation to do the same. We're exceptionally proud of the impact we make on the lives of these heroes and their loved ones, because it's that commitment by all of us as Americans which keeps our country strong. Join us.
Perfect. Yeah, so that's the video. Our team does a great job going throughout the country and capturing a lot of the impact that we make. Here is a lot of the impact that we've had throughout the years. Gary's been supporting our veterans and first responders for decades. The foundation's coming up on a decade, but as you can see, we've been pretty busy providing assistance, and we wouldn't be able to do it without the support of Yakima Chief Hubs and organizations like that. So grateful for all y'all's support, and thank you guys for letting us be a part of this. We feel honored.
Awesome. Thank you, Bobby. Thanks for all you do and all y'all do as well. Is there like one program you would say that you'd like to, not like to, but you guys focus on more than anything else? I know I was looking at the website and doing some research when I was studying, who to kind of select or who to nominate this year. And I was like, man, this place, they do so much, but is there one like special area or specialty that you would say y'all like to focus on?
I'll touch on two. The first one was our RISE program. That's kind of where it all started, the building the specially adapted smart homes for our troops. Yeah, so those, these guys come back and they're injured, and everyday task that me and you take for granted, just go into the restroom easily and everything. These homes are built customly just specifically for their need, their injury, and it just makes every part of life a little bit easier. And another great program we have is our Snowball Express. It's where we take children of our families of our fallen to Disney World for a week getaway. It's a great way for these families that have experienced a lot of tragedy to get together with other people that have gone through similar things, and they build great friendships and just a great community to support one another. So those, I'd say, are two big programs for us, sir.
Sure. Yeah, very nice. Yeah, I saw a lot about the houses, and that's really cool, man. That's a great thing y'all do. Super needed. Awesome. Well, thank you, Bobby. Thank you for your time. I think I'll move on to the next guest, Mr. Kevin Ryan here. Like I said, Kevin's been a big part of the Veterans Blend since we started it a couple of years ago. He owns a brewery down in a very military-rich part of the country. He's in Savannah, and really from Charleston down to Jacksonville, Florida, and up into the Carolinas. There's a lot of bases and a lot of military personnel. No, he does a lot. He does a lot for those folks. There's a lot of military guys and ex-military guys and current military guys that work at the brewery. So really just kind of wanted to get him on here to kind of get his thoughts and kind of see what you got going on, Kevin, and kind of what the Veterans Blend, has done for you, or, how you found it beneficial, in these causes.
Sure. I mean, the Veterans Blend is a super exciting opportunity for us every year, not only to be a part of the selection, but also to be a part of raising money for the charities that are selected each year. We donate a portion of every beer that we sell in our tap room to a charity that we're supporting at the time. So we already, from inception, have had that charitable giving as part of our mission. So this helps us bring a greater awareness to it doing the Veterans Blend. First year we did, we called it Armistice IPA, released it on Armistice Day or Veterans Day. Last year we named the beer Camoufleur, which is the artist that makes the camouflage. And we haven't come up with an appropriate name for this year yet, but we tie it in with other things that we're doing. We do a motorcycle show at the brewery every year. We do Veteran Focus Film Festival at the brewery, and then tie that all together with the release of the beer around that kind of week leading up to Veterans Day. So not only does it bring attention to our tap room, but it also brings attention to whichever charity is being supported at the time. It allows us to collaborate with our local homebrew clubs who come in and take part of that brew day as well. And then last year I approached the Brewers Association about trying to get a booth at Great American Beer Festival where we could have, we had, I think, 5 veteran-owned breweries pour different versions of beer brewed with the same hop blend and serve it from that table. So again, another opportunity to share with the larger beer community what's going on, what Yakima Chief is doing, as well as what the charities are doing.
And how did you come up with the concept for service brewing? I know you don't like to talk about yourself that much, but maybe just kind of how you you kind of came upon that, because it just seems like to really fit a good niche in that market, in that area.
Well, I was actually interviewing somebody for a job yesterday, and they asked me what my favorite beer was, and I told them it was a non-alcoholic Warsteiner that was about 90 degrees Fahrenheit. And I got that when I was in Iraq the first time the PX showed up. There was no refrigerators to pull a cold one from, and you couldn't drink alcoholic beer over there or any other kind of alcohol. So that for life, that will probably be the best tasting beer I've ever had. But while I was deployed to Iraq, we would get packages every day from people that we had no idea who they were. They just knew that there were soldiers deployed, and they needed things like wet wipes. They needed foot powder. They needed beef jerky to chew on. So we would get packages almost every day for the soldiers, and that was their way to give back to us. And so when my fiance bought me a home brewing kit for Valentine's Day in 2012, we immediately started. Well, 7 months later, started planning the brewery, and having all my friends that I asked for money being veterans as well, it was easy to make it a veteran-owned and operated brewery with a mission to give back.
Cool. Yeah, well, you got a beautiful spot there, man. I encourage anyone that makes it to Savannah, get over there to Service Brewing. It's walking distance from everything. It's like 2 blocks from the river. Really, really cool spot.
Yeah, I first learned about the Gary Sinise Foundation during a Lieutenant Dan Band concert in Beaufort. I used to be up there every year, putting on a great show in Beaufort, right around the Marine Corps Air Station, Parris Island. The Gary Sinise Foundation is deeply respected and known in this part of the country for sure.
Awesome. Well, thank you for joining us today. Thank you for all you do. Thank you, Bobby. So I served briefly many years ago and many pounds ago. I was in the Marine Corps for a little bit, and my military career was cut short through an injury. So, I think I'm the only veteran on our sales force, but when they asked me to kind of head up, being the liaison for this blend, I just was really honored. So a little bit of a way to give back. We're seeing a lot more veterans come into the industry. I think it's a good fit for a lot of folks once they get out of the military, trying to find their way, trying to find their niche. We've even seen a lot of, homebrewing has become a kind of a thing. It's very therapeutic for PSD and things of that nature. So I think it's a great cause. We're really early into this program. We've just done it for a couple of years now. So, just happy to be a part of it. And I think we're going to do some great things. So that's about all I have, I believe, here. Tell you another great one is the Pink Boots blend that's been going on a little bit longer than the Veterans blend. Let me turn it over to my colleague, Miss Kelly.
Thanks, Jonathan, and thanks, Bobby. That was really inspiring for me because I guess like Jonathan alluded to in the beginning, some of our blends were kind of to make up for hop shortages. And one that we started with too was the Falconer's Flight, and that benefits I always forget it's the Falconer Foundation, but it's Glenn Hay Falconer who died in like a tragic accident. But it's always great to see these groups of people that are coming together for like a common good cause and to help multiple people, and that's really powerful what you guys are doing. And Kevin, I didn't realize you were in Savannah, but that is one of my all-time favorite southern places to visit. So if I ever make it back over there, I'll definitely say hello.
Please do. We're right on the river.
Yeah, I actually used to work for a cruise ship that went up that river, so I know that place well.
Nice.
That's awesome. Thank you. But yeah, I guess thank you, Jonathan. On to the Pink Boots now. I think these both initiatives both have great things to do with community. Ours, Pink Boots, kind of came up in the field. We had a new CEO, Mike Gettle, and we were cruising around and just looking at experimental hops, just having harvests, chatting, having kind of a team bonding. And Mike asked me, what can we do to help women in the beer industry? I am the only woman on the outside sales team. We do have another woman that is inside of Yakima. She covers South America, Victoria Garza. But I was like, that's, a really cool thing to ask. And I'm wondering now, like, if Mike's brain was working, thinking about the Falconer's Flight and what we did there and how could we expand on it, and it makes more sense. But I immediately thought about Pink Boots, moving here to San Diego for this job. 5 years ago, Laura I got introduced to Laura. I kind of followed her around a little bit. I don't know if she remembers that, but I went to a beer dinner where I knew no one, and she was there, and we ended up chitty-chatting that night a lot more and getting to know each other a lot more. But I was really excited to be able to know her and then be able to be like, well, this would be a good foundation for us to work with. And we quickly got it together. We did our first rub at GABF, which is when we do the National Pink Boots meeting every year. So we went from like September 15th to like 10 or 20 days later. I don't remember exactly the timeline, but to being like, we're going to do this rub at GABF, and it's become a tradition. Unfortunately, this year we were in the same boat. GABF is not going on, so we did some virtual stuff. But that's enough about me, and I'll let Laura take it over from here, and we'll talk more later on about other stuff. But yeah, thank you guys.
Thanks, Kelly. It was exciting to hear the story of the Veterans Blend and the organization. That's really rad. You can go to the next slide, Nicole. We also saw your email, just a heads up. So like Kelly was saying, we do the blend together, and we started in 2017. And this kind of just gives you an idea. This is actually the first blend. And one of the things that we know for Pink Boots Society, let me quickly say, so Pink Boots Society is a nonprofit for women in the brewing industry. And it's now for the beverage industry. We've just recently expanded our membership. But our whole goal is to help women advance their careers through education. And because we don't think there's a glass ceiling, we feel there's an educational ceiling. So we figure the best way to do that is offer scholarships. And we've been around since 2007. And then 2013 is when we started offering scholarships. We started off with 6 scholarships, and now we offer 43 for the year to our members. It's really impressive. The amount of growth that we've had in a short period of time, where we were pretty much a volunteer organization to where just recently we brought on a management company to help us, become a little bit more professional. But with the blend, it helps us to kind of fit our needs to help bring the educational and the scholarship aspect to our members, as well as hitting the network component. But as you can see from here, 2017's blend had these hops, the Palisade, Laurel, Citra, Simcoe, Mosaic. You'll see we like Laurel a lot, and I have a feeling it's going to end up in this year's blend as well. I've seen the 3. It's really exciting because, it's got to be in all the blends. It's just kind of necessary. 2018, we had Laurel, Glacier, Mosaic, Sabro, and Simcoe. Azaka, El Dorado, Idaho Gem, and Laurel was in the last one. And I have to say, for the Veterans Blend, that blend sounds phenomenal. So I'm going to have to figure out who I have to rope into getting some of that so we can make it, because it sounds like a wonderful, juicy hop blend. Next slide, Nicole. So this is the impact that the funds directly from the hops have done for Pink Boots Society. So our biggest day is International Women's Day on March 8th. And so we started with a collaboration brew day. And it's been going on since 2017 with the hop blend. We started off with 120 breweries. Yakima Chief donated $30,000 to us, and we were able to we had 19 scholarships at that time. However, as you can see throughout the years, the increase of the breweries and the awareness of the blend, women in beer, as well as the collaboration brew day and roping more breweries to get involved, this is the outcome. So 2018, we had 260 breweries in 10 countries. The team themselves, any funds that are raised on the collaboration brew day, they get to keep a portion of it, minus what the donation is from Yakima Chief. The Yakima Chief donation goes directly to national, but we're based out of chapters throughout the world. And so any of the teams that are raised, their chapter ends up with the funds, so that it helps to funnel those chapters and their initiatives that they have on the local level. We were able to offer 23 scholarships. 2019, we were on a massive roll. We were doing really great things. Everything was, on par to like just rock. We had 380 breweries, 14 countries. They themselves raised a bunch of money. Yakima Chief, our biggest donation we've ever received from a product partner, $100,000. We couldn't believe it, and that constituted us being able to offer 43 scholarships. So just directly from the funds, we were able to increase our money and our scholarship and our things that are going on. In 2020, well, COVID hit. We had 405 breweries that had signed up. We were on 16 countries. COVID hit in March. That's whenever things kind of stopped, and this is kind of where we landed. However, as you can see, we were doing such a great thing, and it was impressive what was happening with Yakima Chief. So $117,000. We've been able to initiate the money and offer it to our community platform inside to providing our members a better experience and giving back into the value of the membership. Money is still coming in from the beers that were made. And I know a handful of breweries that are remaking their beers. Boston Beer is rebrewing theirs. Here at Stone, we use some of the hops to rebrew a beer. So things are just been a crazy year with COVID. We were on a trajectory high and things kind of stopped. And like you were saying earlier, we'll see what happens whenever it comes to breweries signing up and being able to donate back to charities. But hopefully everyone's got a giving heart and we can kind of keep moving forward with that. Next slide, please. So it was great that we had the guinea pigs of the veteran blend because we pretty much mimicked everything you all did with our blend this year. So we had 15 teams that were selected. The Yakima chapter actually put the kits together and sent them off. It was really great. Everyone got these awesome little handwritten notes. It was really, really personal and it was really great, and then awesome swag that came with it. We also wanted to include 2 international chapters. Canada as well as Australia has a chapter, which happens to be one of the largest international chapters we have. And they're doing 2 rounds. So the first round of chapters were able to take the 10 hops and then they selected 4 to 6 varieties. Tiffany then came back and sent off the blends results, and then on October 7th, that's when they'll do the actual virtual blend to announce what the 2021 blend will be. Next slide. I just wanted to show what the form was because I thought you all put in such an impressive attention to detail in giving a virtual experience, but then also having the brewers understand what was going to be coming, like when they received the hops and how to properly put a blend together. A lot of women don't get a chance to get up to hop selection at all, so they're never kind of involved in any of that stuff. So getting a chance to get your hands on hops, whether it's pellet or whole leaf, has been really impactful, and it's been really eye-opening for a lot of our members who never get a chance to touch this product. So they get a chance to touch it, they get to be immersed with what's happening, and then they realize like this is something that goes into the blend, or this is something that goes into beer, and they realize that the aromas, the flavors, the components that they're touching and they're having a chance to have a vocal opinion about will actually have an impact on the beers that they make later on. Next slide. So again, one of the big things was we were able to establish our online community with the help of Yakima Chief and the donation that we received. And this has been something that we've tried to do for years, taking our comments off of Facebook and really providing a safe space for women in the industry. This gives us a chance to, put information out there, ask questions beyond the social media trolls and things that are going on. This is just based for our membership, and it's been a huge hit. We've been able to connect women from all over the world. And it's been great for us. So what's next for us? Well, we had to postpone our conference in 2022. That was supposed to be coming up in 2021. We've also established an equity and inclusion survey to our members, which will be going out at the end of this month. And then we diversified our membership. So we wanted to be more impactful of who we wanted to have at the table. And we didn't want it to just be beer focused. We wanted to include kombucha makers, cider makers, wine makers. So if you make a fermented beverage and you're a female and you make 25% of your income from that, you qualify for a membership. And our membership is a yearly fee of $45. Next slide. I think that may be it. I can't even remember. So that's kind of who we are, and that's the impact that Pink Boots has been able to utilize with the Yakima Chief funds. It's been, I have to say, one of the easiest product partner relationships we've ever had. You all are great to work with. You're very responsive. Things have just been really rad.
Thanks, Laura. It's been a great partnership, I think, all around, especially with you. I don't know, Laura didn't really tell you guys what she does, but I was going to ask her a question about what her daily life is. She works for a big brewery called...
So I work for Stone Brewing here in Escondido, California. I'm a small batch brewer. I've been with the company for 16 and a half years, so I've been around for a while. I wrote down 6:30 because that's new. I'm sure it's not new to us, but I got to figure out where to find it because I'm like cherry. That sounds wonderful in a beer. But we've been using Talus. We get a lot of chances to see a lot of those new varieties, and I get firsthand experience because we're making hop engineered beers. And we're trialing them, and so for me, being a part of this, the hot blend just means that I get just another added layer to being part of a brewer and an aspect of beer that's just really cool, and a community. You know, the community aspect of all of this, whether it's from, as you'll see from the Veterans Blend or with Pink Boot Society, people want to be aware, they want awareness, and they want to be able to be brought into the fold. And so we hope that we can continue to do that with more and more women.
Yeah, I think it was really exciting too this year to bring in all the other fermented beverages as well. So huge kudos to Pink Boots for doing that.
Yeah, kombucha makers, right? They use hops. Let's go.
Yeah, they can use hops in anything. I think you covered most of, let's see. Yeah, I'm really excited. Like she said, that board that she was talking about, or the online forum, it is really cool. It's kind of like you're on the NBAA, but it's like only Pink Boots members. And there is a lot of like really cool, just back and forth chitter chatter. And like, it is a good forum to feel like you can ask questions maybe and not feel weird, feel more safe. Not that you shouldn't feel safe everywhere, but it is always nice. So I'm glad that was able to happen with the money.
It's just hard sometimes, you know, women doubt themselves, and so they don't really want to always ask a question. But when we are encouraging the questions to be asked, and then we're telling them that we promise that this space is safe, it used to be like that a long time ago in Facebook land, and now, you know, you never know what's going to happen. So we don't want the opportunity for anyone to screen share. We want people to be able to really truly understand that they can be as open and honest as they want to be. And then also have a community forum where we actually share information, and it's just not social. It's not just a social network, but it's beyond. There's information to be shared. There's documents that we're sharing with each other. There's pay it forward. So one of the awesome things about our scholarships is if you're a recipient, then we ask you to do a pay it forward. And that way you can share the information from a larger perspective. So it's not just for yourself, but you're educating the women near and around you. And so we've got some really great presentations that have been shared with us, and so we've uploaded those. We have monthly meetings. Everything has gone to virtual Zoom now, so we're able to take that content and put it up there to our member only section and really make sure that we're providing, I mean, it's a small fee, $45 to be a member, but we wanted to make sure that those members felt value added back. And that's how we can do that, by adding, you know, scholarships, and then as well as any of the information community, the communication that we can add back to them is important.
That's great. That's so awesome.
Yeah, I talk really fast. I'm sorry.
You're fine. I talk fast too usually, so hopefully everyone got us. But yeah, no, it's been an exciting thing, and it's great to be able to share this too with the Veterans Blends. I think I took some cues from what you guys do, and you know, having like, I think events around your brew days and having people, you know, your communities involved. We do that a lot with Pink Boots, but I think we want to get deeper with that. So maybe like, I know there was a throw around at one point. There might be like a
pink combat boot. Didn't we talk about that, right?
Yeah. So maybe we could get that going, Kevin.
I think Jonathan and I will take that on. Pink combat boots blend for sure.
I think that would be super fun. Camaraderie. Oh, that's what brewing is about in this industry. So it's very, yeah. Cool.
I think a lot for these blends, it really comes down to awareness. You know, the more that folks are aware. You know, I work for Stone. We're a huge brewery, and I know based here in Escondido, you know, we have Miramar here. I know that we have a handful of veterans, and so I know that Chris Ketchum. I'm going to throw it out there. I'm sure Chris Ketchum would probably love to get his hands on some hops and get some of those guys COVID safe together for a brew. I think it's really important. Again, it all comes down to awareness. It's awareness for the veterans. It's awareness for women in the industry. We're all just trying to get, as you know, an even playing field and just feel comfortable back in our own space.
Yeah, if these blends continue to do well, you know, we talked about expanding the blends too. You know, I think there was some talk about maybe like something for like to benefit pets or animals or something like that. And you know, minorities in the brewing industry, that's something I think should probably be addressed. It needs to be, you know, we need more minorities in the industry. So there's a lot of great causes out there that we could do these blends for.
And it's nice to see the two biggest ones we do. You know, it's obviously impacting people. So thanks for being a part of it with us.
Yes, thank you.
You guys have, like, does anyone have questions? I don't really see any questions or.
I don't see any. I think throughout this month, I think we found that a lot of people are watching these webinars after because they're recorded. I know most of the ones I've watched, I haven't watched live, I've watched afterwards. So I think there's a way for them to submit questions that way too, right? So if anybody does that, we can get back to them.
I have a question for Bobby. How long has the Gary Sinise Foundation been around?
We are actually coming up on 10 years in 2021, so we are really excited about that. Gary's been at it for decades before that, though. So yeah, 10 years and running, and hopefully decades to go.
Awesome. That's really rad.
Thank you. And thank you, Kevin, for the shout out earlier. Everyone who goes to those Lieutenant Dan bands, they always thoroughly enjoy it. You know, you think a celebrity and he's got his celebrity band. I mean, they got a horn section, they got 2 drummers, they put on a killer show.
Oh yeah, yeah. No, that's going to be my ask. We have a large stage at the brewery, so we need to get the Lieutenant Dan band to Savannah and put on a charity show.
Do it.
The blend serving.
Was it Forrest Gump that got him so involved? Like, was that kind of an awakening for him, that role?
Forrest Gump did somewhat. After the movie, he got an award from the DAV for his portrayal of a Vietnam veteran. But truthfully, it started before that. Gary started his own theaters back in the 70s. And he had a couple of his brother-in-laws were Vietnam veterans. And, you know, he saw that the struggles they were going through. So he said, I want to do something for them. So he started the Veterans Night, where veterans can come and watch a play for free once a month and check it. So that's where it's kind of grown from there throughout the years. But Forrest Gump had a big impact on it, and 9/11 also. Yeah,
for sure. I had a Pink Boots question. Are there specific or certain schools that are involved with the tuition that's awarded, or is it just kind of open to any brewing courts around the country?
Well, so it all depends on who we're able to connect and work with. So we obviously work with Siebel closely. UC Davis, everything's gone virtually right now, so that's kind of been the hinder. But beforehand, they would do their 2-week intensive brewing course. Portland State University is also a close state university that we work with, but we're always looking for new schools or schools that are willing to partner with us, whether or not they're willing to donate a portion of, like, say, the seat of a course, and then we pay the other portion, or vice versa. If we can cover the cost, we will, et cetera. But if it's a traveling one, we want to make sure that there is a stipend that goes with it, so that the recipient has a safety net whenever they're going to class. But right now, everything's gone virtually. So if you're offering a virtual course, and then we're kind of taking it on, and we've had to revamp our scholarship, like we try and look a year in advance. We've had to do some maneuvering around. One of the big ones that we had was New Mexico State University was doing an international trip for brewing and distilling in Belgium and Germany, and that's been postponed until they can actually start traveling again. I know that Siebel is still traveling. We have actually a board member that is attending the Siebel, the 6-month course, and she's actually headed out to Germany. So they're still traveling. So it's just a matter of what schools we can partner with that are willing to work with us on donating a seat, purchasing a seat at a discounted rate, et cetera. So we're open to schools, we're open to programs. We work closely with Cicerone, because that's an easy one to get out there that covers all levels, not just one level, but several levels worth. So they're a big one. We also try to incorporate some marketing ones as well.
Yeah, it seems like it's expanding. Those programs, you know, like in my region and in the Southeast, I mean, we're so new to craft down here. 20 years ago, other than a handful of breweries, it was really non-existent here. You know, really even 10 years ago, it just started blowing up. So now you're starting to see, I think Auburn's got a program. 1 or 2 of the colleges up in North Carolina, maybe NC State has something going on. So you're starting to see more and more kind of pick it up as the industry grows down here. So
there's definitely been an increase in fermentation science in general, as well as like marketing beer 101 at universities across the country. We've seen that quite a bit, not just here in San Diego, but we've seen places that are taking on more of that trade organization to kind of help bring other people into the fold. We actually were trying to work with University of Tennessee on a grant that didn't move forward, but we're really hoping that would help push the university forward, that we're able to have kind of a bubble for women engineers, scientists, fermentation scientists, all kinds of stuff. But we weren't able to move it forward.
Yeah, maybe something will happen in the future with that. It's really cool though. It's exciting. Cicerone's great. That's, I took the Cicerone, the second level, almost 10 years ago, and that's really what enabled me to make the jump from distributor level to brewery level, on the business side of things in this industry. So yeah, great course, super informative for, like you say, for the kind of not, it's more tasting, but it's more well-rounded for an industry professional,
And I think that there's certificates and there's scholarship opportunities and there are different organizations out there that have lots of things to offer. I think it's just a matter of, we can only offer so many because our scholarships are reviewed by 2 different teams. They take a month on and off because we're doing this all as volunteers. So when some of the scholarships we offer have received like 60 applications, and you have to review that in a short period of time. So it's been, as a volunteer organization that has like a small portion that's ran by a management company, we're still doing a lot of the work. We're still putting in all the energy and the effort and the passion. And so we can only handle so much. So we can say yes to a lot of things, and throughout the years we have, and that's kind of how we've been able to grow and continue to grow. But we also know that we want to meet specific strategy points. We want to be able to provide, again, value back to our members. And we're always looking, again, but we're always looking for scholarships to add to the upcoming year, to change. And COVID has been really challenging for nonprofits in general. I know that there are people that are doing virtual conferences. We were supposed to do our conference, but we chose to pivot and just wait an entire year because we felt like it would be more impactful together as opposed to separately virtually. And it's no slight against anybody that's doing it, but women are touchy-feely. They like that impact. They like that emotional aspect of it. And so we're going to give it a year, and hopefully people will feel safe to travel, and we'll be able to execute something great.
Yeah, I agree. I'm glad that you pivoted and didn't do the conference because that was in Austin. I mean, I went to both the 2, and the first one here in San Diego was amazing, but the Austin was like 4 times as big. And it was just really amazing to see all the women that traveled so far to get there, just to be amongst other women that work in the same industry. They did have one question, Laura, about expanding scholarships to wine programs, and I would assume that would be included now just because of.
Yeah, so we've opened our membership to other fermented beverages. Our biggest challenge, and one of the reasons we kind of didn't do it sooner, say 3 years ago, was we don't actually know those scholarships. So we're hoping to bring more women that work in those industries and into the fold to kind of help guide us, the organization as a whole, to what's going to be, what are the needs that winemakers will need? What are the needs that a kombucha brewer might want that's beyond just the beer that we're so familiar with? Same for distilling. What can we do for a distiller or somebody that works in that field that is beyond beer? And so we're hoping to bring more and more women. We have scheduled meetings with some women that work in those industries coming up. So hopefully something will be put into place by next year.
Awesome. It might be also good just to end, we're getting kind of close to the ending time, but maybe how can we contact each one of you, or how can the viewers contact each one of you if they have maybe a scholarship that they want to recommend, or they have a brew, or they want to learn more about your foundation?
So you can find Pink Boots Society at www.pinkbootsociety.org. I'm always willing to take emails or have conversations with people, and you can find me through email at Laura, Laura, at pinkbootsociety.org as well.
For the Gary Sinise Foundation, please go to www.garysinisefoundation.org. From there, you can see all of our different programs. There's a contact us page, and also encourage everyone to follow us on social media. Really, you get a picture of all the different impact and assistance we're able to provide and support. So thank you.
Yeah, with Veterans Blend, we're not quite as organized as these other 2 folks are yet, but I'm happy to help people get involved and learn more about it. My email is Kevin, Kevin, @servicebrewing.com. Pretty simple.
Yeah, I really appreciate you guys being here today. I know Nicole's probably going to wrap it up, but does anyone else have anything they want to kind of share about anything? Or this has been really enlightening and delightful to spend the afternoon with you all.
Yes, thank you. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, thank you guys so much. We really appreciate all of your time popping on here, and those of you who are watching. Sorry about my email. I was actually trying to get a question answered for you guys from Huva. So thank you again for all of you for joining us. And just a reminder, we did record this session, and it will be available here within the hour on virtualharvest.com, as well as all the other sessions, the 61 other sessions we've had so far the month of September, and we have 5 more to go today and tomorrow. If you do have any questions for those that are watching this recording, you can feel free to email brewschool@yakimachief.com. Even if it's about any of the panelists here, we can forward it on if you didn't catch their emails. And if you do have any brewing questions, feel free to email brewinghelp@yakimachief. We have a great in-house team that can answer those questions. Otherwise, thank you all so much. Hope you all have a wonderful afternoon and great rest of your week. And go out and buy some community blends and support some amazing causes. Thanks, everyone. Bye.